the cloud. Fab. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've had a good week and a good weekend. Bit weird saying that because obviously, as I mentioned in the interview yesterday with Helen, that Jake unfortunately can't be with me live next week. So we're recording this. So this is hopefully by this time you're watching this, it's nice and sunny. And we've had a really nice sunny weekend and everyone's been out and managed to do some really nice things. Fingers crossed anyway. Yeah, we are at the last of our Northwest Conference 21 speaker interviews, and we're joined today by Jake Sweet of Applied Influence Group. Thanks so much, Jake, for agreeing to come on and to join us. Really great to see you. So what we've done, and I obviously explained to you, but what we've done so far is we've just spoken to all of the speakers that are joining us, that are very kindly joining us following, obviously you were on the online event as well that we did last year. And we are just going through what the last year has been like for you, changes in obviously in work and how you supported your clients, how your clients found everything, what you did to adapt to that, because obviously it was super crazy year and it was just, you know, it came out of the blue. We had all plans at the start of last year for the conference, and the theme, as we know, was big impact and being 2020 ready. Well, definitely we definitely weren't 2020 ready. I think we would quite like to scrap 2020 off from any of our history really, but yep. I suppose some people managed to make a big impact still. Some people managed to make a big impact. People had to adapt to certain things and working in a different way. So it'd probably be a good idea if we can, from you, Jake, just get a bit of an idea of what changes you saw within the business last year, how it affected you, how it affected your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, hi, Joe. Great to see you. Thanks a lot for having me on. Really great to be here. Yeah, as it was for so many people, a really challenging year, and kind of forced people to really take stock of what's important to them, what's important to their clients, and we, as well as having to do a bit of a kind of step change in what we were delivering to our clients, we also looked at ourselves inwardly and thought, what can we do to best support other people in our sphere of influence, in our network. So I've mentioned that we did a step change, and that was basically going from delivering predominantly face-to-face, either capability development sessions, so actually delivering influence training, influence capability development to our clients and customers, and also direct support packages and things like that, and doing that all face to face, and as everybody else did, having to switch to doing that virtually. But you don't just, as everybody knows, you don't just take that product and think, right, we'll do what we've done face to face previously, and then we'll just stick it on Zoom. We'll just do it on Zoom and it'll be fine. You know, it doesn't work like that. There's so many more considerations. And I think perhaps due to our background, we're particularly sensitive to those kind of considerations. And then as a result, we developed a series of really quite virtual world, distance specific capability development packages and webinars that we could deliver. We began using completely new, different and new tools for us as well. So new sort of online platforms, and having to get accustomed to those and teaching those whilst teaching influence as well to our clients. And so, yeah, it was the combination of doing what we needed to do to support our own business, but also making ourselves as useful and beneficial, really getting on board with, dare I say it, that kind of blitz spirit, and trying to help everybody else out as well, to keep them going, because there's so much that we could do and offer that is of use to people, where I suppose people may have thought of us as a face-to-face influence capability organization, but what COVID has shown is that you know, we are, but we are also so much more than that. And the skills that we would have previously used in our previous lives in military human intelligence translate actually really nicely to the virtual world, and the new world going beyond to whatever happens next.
I suppose, obviously, and we can see from the website, the clients that you work with, excuse me, very high key clients. So how did they react to being able to having to work in a different way? Were they susceptible to changing what you were going to do with them, for it to have an impact on their business as well, and then how they can then have that knock-on effect to then how they provide their services or their support? Were they really susceptible to that? Because for me, dealing with a lot of sole traders and small limited companies, it was a kind of, well, you've just got to get on with it and do it, but they've not got a massive amount of staff maybe, whereas the clients that you're obviously working with are huge. So were they really susceptible to that, and did they take all of that on board?
Yeah, they were very receptive, and also I think, you know, deep down they all knew that having to work virtually was causing problems, and lots of them were beginning to be able to put their finger on what those problems were. We helped them to really identify and label those problems and help them understand why they've got those problems from a human perspective, and I think, you know, because of the size of their networks, and they needed to pull on so many different people from a variety of different places. In order to do that smoothly and effectively, they needed to understand the challenges that they were facing from working virtually. And as I said, with the capability development sessions that we were delivering before, it's not just a case of taking things online. You need to be much more empathetic towards the way people take on information. You need to be empathetic with how you give your communication, in order to get the best results from people.
Yeah, wow. So big, massive change in, and I think that looking at things from a human element is, because it was so weird, and it was such a strange experience for all of us to be it's not like you say, it wasn't just about us shifting everything onto Zoom and us doing everything on a digital software or whatever. It was the changes to not having human contact, not being able to really look somebody in the eye, and I use my hands all the time, but even if I do that, and I'm doing that now, you can't really see that, but it's how you get a feel for people and how you understand how they're feeling and what they're taking on board. And so I've never really looked at it like that from a human element and an emotional element, really. I suppose a lot of people went a bit more introvert, didn't really want to go out and see people because we were really worried, but you still had to get on with your life, and you had to get on with your work and business and running a business. So it will have had a massive toll. And I suppose going into this year and maybe into 2022, it's going to again have another impact on how we do all of that, because businesses will change what they do. Inevitably, they will change the way that they work. Some will probably go back to being full of offices, full tubes and trams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But some won't really. And then how they pass that on to their clients is going to be different.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're all about best preparing our clients for the future, helping them to understand and take on board what's happening to them and how it feels and how they perceive things, and then taking that frame and applying it to their clients and customers so that they can then communicate more effectively and be empathetic. And then they get such a massive head start on everybody else who is doing things but perhaps unconsciously. And if you can really hone that kind of conscious effort and do things with deliberation, you can then deliberately improve those areas, and consistently improve them as well, over and above the ability of perhaps your competitors.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, Excellent, excellent. And as on the online event last year, I think, and I think there was maybe a little bit of people weren't sure, because it was hard for me to, because working with you guys anyway, I've got a nice understanding of what you do and what effect that has anyway. But maybe from VAs that were thinking about attending, and then that came on the conference, on the online event last year, after you spoke and you gave, you know, a detailed explanation, and it was great that you listened to speakers before that, because you got a good feel of, yeah, I can see where the session needs to go. And afterwards, after you left, everyone said, oh, we're actually really excited, because that's something completely different than, it's not, there's some real tangible stuff that and skills that we've learned through, you know, how to use 365 and stuff like that. And I know you guys completely embrace everything about 365, which is fantastic for us, because it's just a dead easy platform to work on. But they were really excited about that whole, about the influence and how you can change people's perceptions. And that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about at the conference, wasn't it? So do you want to share a little bit about what your session's going to be around, and what really they can expect to take away from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I think the main challenge is going to be fitting it all in. When I was at the last online event that you were just referring to, I think I even said at the time, I was scratching my head, because I'd written before, I thought I knew what I was going to deliver.
Yeah.
And then I'd heard these really consistent themes about VAs being put under pressure by clients and having either work thrown at them without any kind of communication or empathy or relationship there, and how detrimental that can be. And also the fact that VAs are perhaps undervaluing themselves and their time, and giving a bit too much away for free, and not really having that kind of the gumption to stick to their guns when it comes to remuneration, because you know you've got your remuneration policy, and you know how much your time could potentially be worth. Every 15 minutes or 1 hour phone call, or every 15-minute phone call that turns into a 1 hour phone call, and perhaps charging it as a 15-minute phone call. And you know, it's all about finding the balance between keeping that rapport going, keeping the relationship with the client, keeping the client even, and also getting the best for you, but also serving the client as best you can, and helping them grow their business. Because you know, this is something that you and I discussed at length last time we spoke, was about the fact that, you know, VAs aren't just the people that do the admin, the typists, the bodies that do the tasks. They can potentially be, and are so often, much more. But and also perhaps the client just wants that. Maybe they just want that transactional relationship. And then VAs need to be able to recognize that in a client and think, well, is that what's best for the relationship, and is it best for their business? I can see other opportunities where I can provide more value. I know perhaps that they want just a transactional relationship for me just to do some tasks. And if I just keep my mouth shut and crack on, that's fine, and I'll take my paycheck. But really, we're missing out on a huge amount of value. They're not getting the best from me. I'm not really feeling fulfilled by what I'm providing to the client or customer. Nobody really is winning from this situation. So it's about recognizing that in yourself, recognizing it in the client, the customer, really hearing what the client is saying to you, but not just what they're saying, what it really means to them. What's their motivation? Why do they want you to perform your role in a certain way? And how can you use their motivations if you want to perhaps offer more, or something different, or something better? How do you frame and tailor your message so it really hits home with each specific individual, crafting tailored messages based on a really good understanding of the people that you're speaking to, and working alongside on a daily basis, and getting the best from people, including yourself?
Yeah, definitely, because it is that there is a perception around in some businesses and in some business owners, and I think there's still a lot of education that's needed doing within the business world to actually, one, get people to understand that a VA exists, because I think there's still a lot of businesses that don't know that. Two, what the difference is between different types of VAs and how they can work with them, and then they actually, like you say, getting that message across and having the right language and the right skills with that prospect to sell, really, and I don't like the word sell, but to really put yourself across as, this is what I am, and I know that I'm first and foremost a business owner, and we just happen to do all of these things that clients need, but I'm a business owner. So my message has got to be about running a business and how to successfully run a business for a long period of time, to support other business owners to do what they really need to do. So that I need to tailor that message, and how do I get that across, and how do I change the perception of that client within, sometimes can be, if it's face-to-face, a small amount of time, or if it's online, it's getting that right message across for that right client. So I think using those kind of influence skills that you've already experienced and you use anyway, to change perception and get that message across in a clear and succinct way, is going to be really, it's going to be really crucial for them. And I think they'll take a lot away from that, from the session, definitely.
Yeah, I think you've really nailed it there. It's all about making best use of the time that you've got with the time, with the person and the resources.
Yeah, because we can spend so long doing fantastic Canva posts and brilliant social media posts, but if we're not actually saying the right thing to the right person, where they want to buy, where they're going to make that decision to work with you. You know, we spoke to Helen Burton from Queen Bee, and her interview was last Tuesday, and we spoke there about stories, because even though some people might think, well, I've got, my client base is very corporate maybe, and my clients are probably going to be more on LinkedIn, that might be where they might make the decision to buy and actually work with them. But that doesn't mean when they're sat at home and the kids have gone to bed and they've got a glass of wine, they're not on Instagram, and they might resonate with that person that's on Instagram who is running a business. But so they might build that relationship virtually through Facebook and Instagram from watching and getting to know that person on a personal level, then making the decision to buy through their professional posts that they put on LinkedIn. So we've got to be really savvy with putting the right messages out to the right people, but tailoring that, like you said, to, well, these are going to be my posts on Instagram to build relationships with people, but these are going to be my selling posts on LinkedIn, where I want them to make the decision to work with me. So, but it still needs to, it's hard because you need to still reflect on LinkedIn. Well, this is the person, I'm still Joanne. I might have a business, but I'm still Joanne. So having that general understanding of just maybe some key influence skills, I think, could make a massive difference to what we do and how we turn prospects into clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Fab. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to let you get off because I know you're working nights at the moment and really, really busy with different clients. But thanks so much, Jake. I really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait, Jo.
Thank you. Yeah, can't wait. And we will see you on Friday, 25th of June at the Northwest
in
VA
person.
Conference.
Sorry.
In person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Can't wait. Thanks
Crazy.
so much, Jake. I really appreciate it. See you soon.
All right. Cheers, Jo. Thanks for your time. Cheers.